Hey everyone, it's Albie. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be going over Devil in Spring by Lisa Kleypas. Spoiler alert, it was 6 stars, one of my all-time favorite books. It was so good. So let's go ahead and get started in my review. So Pandora is not like other girls. She's a wallflower, but not a wilting wallflower. She's not really interested in the whole, dating, finding a husband thing. But her sister Cassandra is sort of like, she's the black cat. Her sister Cassandra is the labradoodle. Like, she's just full of energy, full of life, blonde, blue-eyed, bubbly, effervescent. And Pandora's reserved, quiet, shy, and she has better things to do than be at a ball. And so the beginning is set up wonderfully. So it has one of my favorite tropes, which is like the compromised heroine. I love that trope so much. It begins at a ball, as a lot of historical romances do. Pandora is in the back corner. She doesn't really dance. We find out a little later on why that is. And her friend Dolly comes up and she's like, girl, I need your help. I was up in the garden, or a different area of the ball, outside in this little she shed sort of thing. And I was with another man. It wasn't her husband. And she's lost part of her earring. And she's like, I can't go out. I can't go and find it because they're going to notice I'm gone again. They're going to think I was with this man, which she was, having a rendezvous. And Pandora's like, you know what? I'll be a good friend. I'll go out to the atrium or whatever and look for the sapphire in the earring, because the earrings were loaned to her by her mother-in-law and are expensive, family heirlooms. And so Pandora goes to outside of the ball. It's in another part of the house, but you have to go outside, an atrium, a sunroom sort of thing. But you have to go outside. It's away from everyone. So, she's alone. And she goes there. She looks around. She sees the settee, which is a little sofa. And sort of hidden in, parts of, the furniture, she spots the sapphire. So she goes down, reaches to get it. And her dress gets hooked. And her arm starts to get stuck. And she is in a conundrum. And then she hears a male voice. And she's like, oh, no. So it turns out it is Gabriel St. Vincent. He's gone out to get away from all the mommies and the thirsty debutantes. Escape for a minute, either have a smoke break or just get away from the chaos, have a moment of peace. And he's like, oh, I gotta help this poor girl. She's literally stuck. So he goes to help her. While doing it, her hairpins come undone, her dress gets torn, and they get the sapphire basically out when they hear other gentlemen approach, and they're like, what are you two doing? It's the unaccompanied woman, unaccompanied man. Her hair is falling undone. Her dress is, rumpled and wrinkled and torn. It's looking mighty suspicious. So it's one of the men that catch them is actually Lord Westcliff, from the hero from It Happened One Autumn. So Marcus, and just really fun with that in exchange. Side note. But the other man is this grumpy, really staunch, this is what you got to do sort of thing. He's like, you got to marry her. You were canoodling unaccompanied. She's been ruined. And Sebastian is really upset about that. And Pandora is even more upset about it. And I just love that. So Pandora is like, I am not going to get married. I don't know who this man is. He's too beautiful to look at. I would be so annoyed to be married to this god statue of a man. I'm not interested. I have a business I want to run. And she's like, no, thank you. And Sebastian's like, what the heck? This girl to him is she's described sort of as plain, but she's beautiful. Also, that's how it always is. Oh, she was boring. She wasn't interesting. She had mousy brown hair and blue eyes. And then it's she's gorgeous at the same time. So you never know how to actually interpret that. But he's used to really beautiful women. He's a gorgeous man, and he's used to supermodels, and she's a beautiful girl next door. So I think that's a good way to put it. So he's used to these people that matches almost unearthly beauty, and she's just a normal beautiful person. And so he's really annoyed that she's not interested in him, and that really pisses him off, to the point where it makes him pursue her, because he's he has a point to make. He's like, what is this woman's problem? Why is she not interested in me? And I love that. I thought it was such a fun exploration for these characters. I really loved the romance. There were some of the most tender, loving scenes in this book I've ever read. This scene where we find out that when Pandora was a child, she was abused by her father, and he hit her so hard that he punctured her eardrum, and she's partially deaf and has really horrible equilibrium problems. She has tinnitus, and she gets really dizzy and really nauseated and trips and falls really easily, and that's why she doesn't really dance, and she can't really dance. And so Sebastian has Phoebe, his older sister, in a private room, and he has her play waltzes for them, and he teaches her how to waltz, and she's really getting flustered and upset, and he's like, why don't you focus on me and I'll be your focal point. I was like, oh my gosh, that is so romantic. And it's just like him helping her and just being the kindest, most gentlemanly man. And that was what was interesting. So Gabriel is living in the shadow of his father's debauchery, which I thought was a really cool exploration. I thought I said that before. That's a really cool idea that Kleypas brought to this novel. So Sebastian is a notorious rake, or was before he's simples. So he becomes a simp for Evie, and Sebastian has to live with that sort of scarlet letter of having a kind of a thoughty dad. And so Sebastian he's a bad boy, but he's also more reserved and more, he's not as wild as his father. And so he has to sort of live with the bad boy reputation. Even though he is a bad boy, he's not the baddest boy, and he's not as bad as he's perceived. So lots of just fun scenes in the story. I loved, there's a part where they go to Sebastian's like country house, Gabriel's country house, but Sebastian's there, like the whole family's there. It's like their summer escape, because it is called Devil in Spring, but it begins in the middle of May. That's summer to me. I mean, not in England, but like it's basically like June, July for like the middle part of the book. So it's more of a summer romance, which honestly, read it this summer. It's really good. But there's like it has a really cool history of like going to the beach and like getting in your bathing costume, and there's really fun scenes with with Gabriel like helping Pandora and the water, and it's super romantic. It was just really fun and just a lovely story overall. It did have one thing that a little annoys me in Miss Kleypas' novel. It had like the big action scene with like someone getting hurt and then nurse fight to help, but it was nicely done. It didn't drag on too much, and so I was happy about that. But just lovely. We have some visiting characters. There's larger scenes for Catherine and Devon, as well as Helen and Reese Winterbourne, and even Drago, who Pandora calls Dragon. I believe he's a little boy in Mine Till Midnight. I'm pretty sure he's in that one. He might have been a little boy in I think he might have also been in Devil in Winter. I think he was in that one as well, because I remember there was a scene where Lillian gets like in this like tomb, like this like maze inside the walls of Jenner, and she like runs into Cam and it's like, ooh, what are you doing, sort of thing. So it's fun to have revisiting characters. And if y'all don't know, Jenner's was originally called Cravens, which I haven't read those, but I think it's called Then Came You. It's book 2. That one's the Derek Craven book. I haven't read those yet. I want to read them really soon. I did buy them. But Jenner's was Cravens. It's the Lisa Kleypas verse. I joked about it when I read like 2 of her books, but it really is like it's a literal world. And it's so cool. I mean, my memory's not the best where I remember every person, but like it's been so much fun to see like, oh my gosh, I know that person, or I know that history. So I've really enjoyed that as a reader as well. It reminds me, I love Gilmore Girls, and honestly, the writers, not to throw too much shade, but the writers at Bridgerton should take a note. It's called Gilmore Girls, not Stars Hollow, because you know they have large ensembles. The episodes are shorter than Bridgerton, but the focus is on the main people. So maybe have the next couple be the main focus and have your extras instead of having your extras and your main couple in the back. You know what I mean? I digress. But I mean, 6 stars. Devil in Spring. I just love this book so much. Pandora is just one of my all-time favorite characters now. I loved her just quirks and charms. I loved everything about her. I loved the lists she made. Like I could not like number 57. I could never marry a man this beautiful. Like it just cracks me up. So love her. She's an inventor, so she's kind of like a woman in STEM because she invents. I read the whole book literally. Like there's a recipe. I read the recipe in the book. At the end of the book, I read the historical notes. And what's her name? Does it say? Let's see. Yeah. So Pandora is modeled after Elizabeth Maggie, and she was a game inventor, and her game idea was sort of stolen, and that game became Monopoly. So yeah, I loved Pandora, and I love the history in this book. Kleypas does wonderful history. She makes it really approachable. I don't feel it's too dense, but like Kleypas and Shoop, the history is so engrossing. Like I feel like I'm watching a film. Sometimes I'll read a historical romance and it's more like a play, if that makes sense. So like when I read, I see the pictures and the story in my head, and sometimes when I read, it's a play, and you know, it's a play. You have one rectangle and it's showing a scene, and it's scene by scene. When I read Lisa Kleypas and Joanna Shoop, and there's a few others, but especially these two authors, those books, you know what I mean. It's a whole scope. I can see everything. I can see cobblestones. I can see smoke in the air. I can see food. You know, I just get a whole different world and a whole different reading experience when I read a Lisa Kleypas book, Joanna Shoop book. It's just so vivid and fun as an imaginary reader, if that makes sense. So I really geeked out. But honestly, if I'm going to geek out, it should be with Pandora, because we're kind of geeking out together, you know. Well, I digress. I've talked too much about literally my new favorite book. I want to, even though I'm not going to actually read the physical copy because I read it on my Kindle, I want to buy the British version. I think it's Pakaris edition. It has a beautiful cover. I really want that cover. It's on Amazon. You can buy the British ones. They're a little hard to find. They're not like up on the page, but you can like search it and get it for like $10. I want to get it because that cover is so pretty. Yeah. Anyway, everyone, thank you so much for watching and subscribing. I've gained a lot of subscribers from me. I've had a lot of growth recently, and it's really appreciative. It makes me feel really loved in a way, which is corny. But you know, when you put something out, when you create, it's really nice to see people enjoy it and respond and have a good time. That's what my whole channel is about, is to talk about books, and I love having conversations about books. I love talking about things. So let me know in the comments below. Have you read this? Did I convince you to read it? You check out your library, check out used bookstore, check out bookstores, check out Amazon. You know, I have to use Amazon. I don't drive and stuff, so do what you can. Find a book you love and share it. So everyone, have a wonderful day, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye.